Well, a very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to Vogan's European Outlook for Tuesday, the 30th of November, the final day of meteorological autumn. We are about to step into winter 2021-22, and well, it really does look as if we've got quite the battle as we go forward here in terms of the Atlantic trying to continue to hold its presence on the UK, but at the same time we've got increasing likelihood of colder weather over eastern portions of Europe here, and the modelling is hinting at least of a real battle between Atlantic and Arctic, and the potential for a Scandinavian high pressure system that will try to possibly push polar or possibly Siberian or westwards towards the British Isles here. So the Atlantic's going to push, the Arctic may potentially push as well, and it's going to be a very interesting month coming up here. But this is the current situation. A very soggy night, by the way, here in East Kilbride, and I think it's pretty much a soggy one across many portions of Scotland this evening. You can see low pressure sitting almost bang slap over the central belt at the moment. But as I skip through, what we're going to see is we're going to eventually start to lose the mild air that we've got back in place once again, and we're going to reintroduce colder air from the north once again, because we've got high pressure stationed and parked over eastern portions of Iceland, low pressure over Denmark, and of course we've got that northerly airflow in between here, so we could see even some wintry precipitation coming back into play once again as we push through the second half of the week. But then notice the GFS has another system coming in off the Atlantic here, so the Atlantic is by no means shut down. Actually, it is going to continue to at least try to fight against any kind of north or northeasterly influence, and the UK is in a real battleground because we're seeing cold air over the north of Europe that is going to continuously try to press south and southwestwards over the next wee while here. So it's an interesting battle, there's no question about that. And then even as you can see here, by the time we reach the second half of the weekend here, low pressure to the east, high pressure to the west, we're kind of in that kind of chilly setup here overall. Then it gets quite interesting. It becomes a much more dynamic situation. Strong area of Arctic high pressure centered over northern Sweden at 1032 millibars. We've also got a pretty strong area of low pressure off the southwestern portion of Iceland. Strong associated cold front bringing a swathe of wind, rain, possible snow, gale force winds. Real messy picture here. So we've got the battle here between the Atlantic, like I say, trying to push in to the British Isles. It looks as if it's going to do so, but there's also going to be cold air, I think, in place as well. So we're going to have a real mixture, a real war in terms of weather as we go through the first week to 10 days of December here. You can see here one low after the next over the North Atlantic here. And then we've got a very interesting scenario. Now the model may lose this scenario altogether, but what it does is it develops an area of low pressure, quite a small, compact, but very intense area of low pressure. This is really quite eye-catching actually, because you notice here that we've got an area of high pressure centered over northwestern Russia at 1053 millibars versus an area of low pressure that's crossing the Atlantic, deepening as it does so, and that is a real, very fascinating weather map. In fact, look at this here. This is by Saturday the 11th of December here. Very dynamic, very extreme pattern, if you will. A 933 millibar low bomb over the northeastern Atlantic that could produce violent winds if it was to materialise. Of course, it's a long way out, but it's interesting what the modelling is at least sniffing at here. The dynamic setup that could be evolving here is very interesting indeed here. And you can see the frontal system associated with that area of low pressure pushing across the UK, bringing all sorts of nasty weather. All the while, we've got high pressure over the northeastern portion of Europe here. That is going to try to push very, very cold air over northern Eurasia westwards underneath that high. And like I said to you, there is going to be a real fight, a real battle, a real war in terms of who's going to become the dominant player, the dominant factor. Is it the Atlantic or is it the Arctic? And that's going to be really interesting to see here. You can see here as I skip through the sequence here, there is a real attempt at a Scandinavian high with easterly winds trying to develop underneath that area of high pressure towards the middle portion of the month. So let's watch this space. Look at that here at the very end of the loop. You can see here 1053 high. That would be a super cold high, by the way, over Finland and over northwestern portions of Russia, and that would also have a connection to Siberia, I think. So watch this space. Keep it right here, because I'll tell you what, I think there's a heck of a month coming up in terms of potential extreme weather. Not all necessarily cold or extreme cold, but I think the all the ingredients are there for some exceptional weather and exciting weather. If you like weather, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting month indeed. Looking at this is interesting. Looking at the NAO and the AO, doesn't look as if it's wanting to play ball at all here. You notice here that it's suggesting that it goes towards positive. The Arctic Oscillation as well is going towards the same. You can see here that it actually goes pretty extreme positive here. And in terms of the CFSV2 for the month of December, this is what it looks like here. So it looks as if it's having a cold Europe, but it looks as if also we could be talking about a warm Scotland, warm Ireland, a possible average across the rest of the UK here. Looking at the upper air pattern here, this is the anomaly here at 500 millibars. You can see here high pressure over the Atlantic, but notice it's not extending. This is off the CFSV2 for the month of December. It's not poking its nose right north, shutting down the Atlantic. There would be arguments here for weather trying to come up over the top of this main ridge of high pressure. But notice over the European continent, it's looking colder than normal. And when you've got colder than normal, you've always got that chance of getting colder weather progressing westwards far enough towards the UK here. I think December is going to be a battle month, and exactly what wins out, Atlantic versus the Arctic stroke Siberia, is going to be quite the month, I think, in terms of weather overall here. So keep it right here on my YouTube channel. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with more as well. Hope you have a great evening. Bye bye.